Hello, I have a message today called Allowing an Illusion to Pass Away. So the first part is you can feel the imagined need for enemies. And that's interesting for me to think about. If I feel tired, that's my imagined need for enemies, whether the enemies be things, conditions, deficiency, people. Any of these things can be enemies, can be things that seem to hold one back or work against one or drag one down, right? If I feel uncomfortable, I'm feeling my imagined, because that's imagined, need for enemies. And so I think about how the ego's up and down emotions, which can distract us so much for so much of the time, are that's the imagined part. And then our state of being is here, and that's joyous. But the ego will say, no, my high peak, my high point, my stimulation, that's when you're happy. So it's interesting to start to see through what the ego says my happiness is versus the happiness that you are with me right now at all times. No matter what ego emotion of up or down seems to be distracting us. Isn't it interesting that if somebody gets online and talks about how blissful and happy and wonderful, and then somebody maybe watching them is feeling so down and sad and lacking because they seem to be opposite, but let's make both of those people be me, so I'm not judging another, right? But both of those are the up and down. And if one gets jealous of another, if another truly feels they have something actual that the one who seems to be down doesn't have, like a real thing, and we're both deluded, me, and me. There's one me that isn't deluded, the me that is the state of being, that's eternal, that's forever, that's joined with everything, everyone, anything. It's the oneness that joins what's real, the real thread, the real spark in any of it. So there it is. So no matter what I feel, and it's harder when we're in one of these false positives to recognize it, although sometimes it starts to turn to anxiety or fear of lack pretty quickly, and then you can feel it. There's the imagined need for enemies or for someone different. And that's what this place has been about. It's because we wanted it. We wanted to see and experience that. And so we did, but only in imagination, because it's not possible. An enemy is not possible. Someone who would act or work against what you actually are isn't possible. We imagine that. Someone or something. Okay, as you imagine the idea of a source of badness outside of you, you cement the idea of a source of badness inside of you. So as without, so within. And it's ultimately this deep guilt within us that we have to address. And what's the guilt over? Believing that what we imagined is real. And is therefore, because we think it's real, we think it can damage or pull or push against what's actually here, what's actually real, this power we all are. So we think we've violated or damaged in some way this ultimate power that we all are. But guilt itself is one of those ego up and downs. It's just falseness, both of it, the happiness and the unhappiness. It's the sticker we use to cover up our eternal state that has never passed away this whole time. We just put stickers on it. And having believed the stickers were real, the pleasure and the pain, we thought we had done something real, and we thought we had violated or damaged the whole of us. We never did. We just imagined it. We just dreamed it. So because there's a belief in something horribly wrong within us, a horrible wrong that we actually committed, in our world that we're imagining, what do we see that seems to be far distant from us and outside of us? Or a little closer, or a little closer, or a little or right next to you. What are we seeing right next to us or far distant? All of those conflicts, all of those seeming deficiencies, all of those people who seem to not get it or don't understand, we're seeing played out what we believe to be inside of us, this great damage, this great guilt, this great power to do wrong, and then we see it outside of ourselves. This power to be unwell, this power to be damaging, this power to be not enough. We think that's real in us. And so then we see it out there, close and distant. And just to observe that, I can project the falsehood, or I can learn to really acknowledge what we never lost. The eternal joy that connects all of us, the peace that connects all of us and everything, and every condition and everyone and every event, no matter how good or bad the event seems. There's this thread of golden light through the whole thing, and I can allow that to extend instead of putting ego stickers on it to try to cover it up. I can do that. I can allow the light to extend. Why can I do it? Because you can. That's the only reason I can do it. I can do that, or I can believe the guilt and fear is real, solid, damaging, immovable, and I can project that. Obviously still projecting. Look around you. You're doing what I'm doing, right? Look close to you and look far distant from you and see if you have any judgments during your day that are especially positive, one having where another lacks, or especially negative, one lacking where another's better. A place, a thing, a condition, in anything, right? Do we have any of that hanging around? Do we see any of that? Do we experience any of that? Well, of course we do. So now we get in touch with, okay, the light is real, and all of us share the power to extend the light, and the light reveals what has always been here. So we learn to wind down the projection engine. It's never been anyone else. We're doing it. Wind it down, and then allow the extension that reveals what's here for everyone without exception. No exceptions. What's actually here is here for everyone without exception. Okay, so as you contemplate another, of course there's holiness in both places, because holiness itself is the one place. So when we talk about others, it's not accustomed for us to have conversations where we say, you know, so-and-so, they're the one thing I am and the one thing you are. And the one responding to you will say, yeah, they're the one thing. They're the only thing. Yeah, me too. Yeah, you too. There's nothing to talk about, right? Instead, we're saying, how about these characteristics and facets of them? How about this story I have to tell and what that implies? How about this anticipated future for this one or that one? How about this condition in the world and the way I'm judging it is it's better than this or it's worse than that? It's either especially positive or especially negative. And if you think of all the spiritual things and we set those apart and say they're especially positive, even that, or especially that, I don't know. How do you have a conversation? We might not need to conversate so much. We might not need to get so excited about sharing stories. And that doesn't mean we, from our egos, make a rule like, well, I'm not talking anymore. I'm not sharing stories anymore because they're meaningless. No, because Spirit uses talking while we still talk. Spirit uses the sharing of stories while we still share stories. And does that wind down into a shared state of being where you more enjoy than talk? We don't have to go there right now. Whatever tools we're employing right now, Spirit can use to point to the same one thing in all of us, in everyone and everything. And that's where our focus can be. Whatever seems to be here, it doesn't matter how ego judges it up or down. What matters is that Spirit can pick it up and use it. What matters is that Spirit is the real thing about anyone I interact with, that innocent Spirit full of grace. Spirit is the real thing about me. Spirit is the real thing about any condition that appears, whether it seems to be a good condition or a bad condition. What unites us all is the real thing about any event that seems to happen, whether it gets labeled especially good or especially bad in any aspect at all. There's the one thread of light running through every teeny tiny thing about it that could be judged, and we can always focus on what's actually present instead of what we're projecting on what's actually present. So there's what's actually present, which doesn't hook directly up to what we regard as our senses, our five senses. And then there's what we project upon what is actually present. And that's more directly hooked up to our five senses, I guess. But when we give Spirit permission, it's like, I don't really know what I'm talking about, so I'm less confident here. But I'll just say what's coming to mind. Spirit is kind of given permission to hook up to our five senses and to use all the symbolism to communicate the same one thing, the same one steady shared thing to us in many, many different ways. Through all the channels that we are used to receiving, especially up and especially down messages, or, all the channels we're used to receiving information, so then we can analyze, interpret, and judge that information. Now these channels of the senses are given permission by us. We give Spirit permission to send to us through these channels of the senses proof that we exist, basically, as we are, in the form of symbols that will communicate to all of us very directly and very easily. This is my favorite part, when I have no idea what I'm talking about. and then I feel happy. I'm like, oh, really? That's great. That's great news. Thanks for letting me know through my own mouth. I feel very grateful for that. Okay, what else? All right, everyone helps you to get to and rest in the pure kernel of you. So that's everyone. Everyone's a helper. And there's going to be a time where you don't feel like being with everyone, and that's okay. That's a time for you to find all the thoughts that are seeming to cause that disturbance or seeming withdrawal in you, and to let those go and to sink into what is actually here, and to have the ability to be with all you call other and rest in the pure kernel of what they are. So there seem to be these times where you're more engaged with those you call other, and there seem to be these times where you're less engaged with all you call other. And if somebody's got one side of the spiritual coin flipped and they're telling you, no, isolation is bad. Here's the bad that comes from isolation. Or then they've got the other side of the spiritual coin flipped. It's like, you have to withdraw. You have to be in solitude. You have to face your shadow. You have to, right? We do this to ourselves. Have to. Spirit uses both the back and the forth. So if you're feeling very strongly, I'm just not doing it. Not today. Sometimes it feels like, not today, Satan. Whatever it is. Both seeming states of experiencing, I didn't want to say state of being, can be used by Spirit, not in just your favor, in everyone's favor. So no matter what the inclination seems to be, Spirit can use it in everyone's favor. So it's not about judging how something looks or how something feels. It's about letting what we are to operate and work through all of it, no matter how it appears. And so then what seems to be our own decision making. Should I stay or should I go? Should I do this or should I do that? We can feel guidance. We can allow guidance to become obvious. We also have those times where it feels like I'm deciding alone. And it's okay, because no matter what decision you make, just like a navigator, you turn left, it gives you the route to where you're going. You turn right, even when it's told you to turn left, it gives you the route to where you're going. So it does not matter. The only thing is, in this moment, is giving Spirit permission. I'm getting more and more of those chances to take over the entire perceived situation you're in and to use it to deliver proof to you. Proof seems like a strong word. I feel a little hesitant about that, but that's actually the word that came through. Proof to you of who you are with everyone and everything. So then we don't have to judge the conditions. The condition of the body, the condition of the domicile where you live, the condition of having a vehicle or not having a vehicle, or if you have the vehicle, what condition the vehicle's in. Just all of it. The condition of deciding who has been successful in life and who has not been successful, or deciding that success is actually a way to judge somebody negative, their apparent success. Any of it. So if we give all of it to Spirit, everything we're perceiving, everything we're experiencing, everything we perceive over there with someone else, and we just say, use it on the behalf of everyone, because what benefits everyone benefits me forever. And then use my senses, my experiences, every moment of every day to prove to me what we all are together, to show me, to make it real to me. Then that's what we get. Our focus is important, and we can understand how often we get derailed, and it's okay, because guess what? We eventually come back here to this focus, and we get better and better at coming back here to this focus, and it's really okay. Okay, am I fighting something real, or am I allowing an illusion to pass away? So when we feel in struggle, we can feel in struggle against something, against what we've been experiencing, or it seems like a looping repetition of experience from our past, or it could seem to be a looping characteristic in someone else that we seem to experience over and over again, a strange reluctance about someone else that we seem to experience over and over again. And instead of believing we're fighting something real and that there's use in fighting, we don't have to force ourselves ever to do something we're not feeling. But as we're not forcing ourselves to do something we're not feeling, we can acknowledge this struggle and fight within me and what my ego is telling me I'm fighting against. A person, a characteristic in a person. I can see that as I'm fighting against an illusion, and I have the power, because everyone does, and even everything does. I have the power to allow illusion to pass away, leaving only what's real. It's only if I'm attached to that illusion that I'm going to fight it. So when I believe I'm in struggle with something real, I am actually fighting the light. But again, that doesn't mean I have to force my action, that I have to force myself to enact trust when I'm not trusting, that I have to force myself to enact liking or being enthusiastic when I'm not. It's okay to sit where I am and to explore it. It's okay to tell people no, because telling people no is giving us the space to sink into this vastness where the yes is really obvious and really easy. So it's okay to tell people no, because the no's not genuine at that point. and you have no obligation to anyone. You're already connected to them. So in the sense of obligations coming from fear and guilt and pressure and trying to be good enough, and they're lacking so you have to supply, or the other way around, you're lacking so they have to supply, we can let all of that go. That struggle within us. We're not fighting anything real, we're fighting images and ideas that our ego has generated, and we're treating them as real. Why? Because we've experienced them, so we've made them real to ourselves, and we have beliefs based on them. But all of us have the power to allow illusion to pass away. So when I can recognize that anything I'm struggling with or fighting against is an illusion that I have made real to me, and I'm looping in the repetition of it, it's not real, but it feels real, and I made it real because I wanted it to be real. And your ego might say, I don't want this bad thing to be real, but if I'm struggling against it, I made it real, and I only make it real when I want it to be real. And I only want it to be real when I'm deluded because I've forgotten what's actually real here. What's here for all of us? What is the equal power we all share? What is the equal holiness and innocence and grace we all share right now? Then I learn how to relax back into that and just to allow that to do its work through everyone and everything I've been perceiving. So that's the difference, the kind of struggling forward and thinking it's all real, and the resting back and allowing what we are to do its work through everything we called real, but we now recognize it's just yet another illusion. Anything that can be different from another thing, it is an illusion, but Spirit can work through all of it. So I have that willingness to rest, to acknowledge, to experience, to allow. I feel that willingness expanding. I feel that willingness to see and acknowledge you as you are, and as you always have been, and to not get distracted or sidetracked by anything. It's almost like we try to prove to each other that we're the illusion, whether it's positive or negative, rather than the real thing. But we learn how to see through each other, and it's not the positive illusion about you that you might be struggling to maintain that I love. It's just you, and nothing can ever change that. We barely know ourselves, but now we get to learn both that we love and what it is that we love, and it's never been any of these illusions. So now we get to find out. All right, so have a good time finding out, and thank you for listening.